So today I'm going to show you how to block your granny square, or how I blocked my recent granny square. So this is the outcome of the granny square that has been blocked. So it lays down flat on the surface, whereas the unblocked granny square is a little bit, has a mind of its own, like it's a little bit wonky and the edges are filled up. So there's a great difference when you block your squares. It would not be easy to line up your stitches for joining the other with the other granny square. So that's how it is with the blocked and the unblocked granny square. So for the materials on how I did blocked my granny square, so here this. First is you need to have a container, any container that would be able to, or you would be able to soak up your granny square. It doesn't have to be very big, it's just enough for your granny square to be soaked. This is actually a container of an empty ice cream container. And on how long are you going to soak your granny square, it doesn't have to be very long. It depends upon you. 1 minute, 2 minutes. You just have to have essentially wet granny square. And of course, you're going to remove the excess water. We're just squeezing them like this. Just have to make your granny square wet, because this is wet blocking. See here, I have water in the container, and just dump the granny square in the water. We're going to set this aside. I'm going to tell you what are the other materials or tools that we're going to need for the blocking. And you will also need some pins to pin down a granny square on a surface. And to pin down, I use this cork board that is available in the house. You can use a foam or something that you can pin your granny square, or you can use your pins. Okay, and lastly is this hair blower to hasten up the drying process. If you don't want to dry it with a blower, that's okay. If you want to keep it, dry it naturally, that would be okay. But if you're on a hurry, of course you can have an aid of a hair blower, just like what I did. So now we're going to get our granny square out of the water, out of the soaking. Just going to squeeze the water just like this. And then we'll start to pin them down on the cork board. So of course you're going to pin first the 4 corners. Just like this. So the 4 corners, and then stretch up a bit. Of course, you can adjust if it doesn't appear to be equally distributed. So of course you can adjust if you would seem that your squares are not equally distributed. And then so you can stretch more, and then you can put pin here on the sides if you wanted to give it a little stretch. And then if you have like more granny squares, you can stuck them up here so that the stretching would be the same for all your granny squares, because if you're going to stretch it on another side, you might end up having a not uniform granny square. So if you wanted to make it, or if you wanted to have your granny squares in the same size, so you better stuck them up here. And of course, you are going to plug your hair blower, and then you start to dry your granny square. So of course you're going to dry first the one that is placed on top, and then when it's dry you can remove it, because slowly it would turn up like this way. So that's it for how I did, or how I blocked my granny square. This is my newest granny square pattern, which will be available soon when I'm done with the projects that I'm supposed to launch very soon. That's it, and thank you.